Hey, this is Lou Mangello from WDW Radio, and you're listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Let's do this.
The tangents this week continue all the way to episode 255 of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. Stream or stream not, there is no try. Welcome everyone to this week's episode of the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. So glad to join us. Let's start off like do go to the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Brittany in Bethlehem.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
What's up, everybody?
Hello. Hope you survived Turkey Day.
Yeah.
Some of us are dragging a little bit, but it's okay. We'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
I was at the gym and my trainer is like, all right, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. I'm like, I didn't eat that much at Thanksgiving.
I didn't go overboard on the desserts and all the relish tray, you know.
Yeah.
That seems to be like kind of.
I didn't eat as much as I wanted to.
Exactly. Same here.
I want to know something because, like, even my family, we didn't really eat as much as we normally do. I mean, some of us were sick, so that explains that. But it's like, it's like everyone think, well, I know I eat this much, but this year for some reason.
Of course, now looking back, I'm like, I should have had more. But
That's okay. Christmas is in a few weeks, and there will be plenty of goodies then, too.
Yeah. Anyway, as my stomach goes,
I know, it's like, it's dinner time.
It's dinner time, yeah.
Feed me Seymour.
Yeah, like, do you know how long ago lunch was? And you been to the gym in between, burned off lunch. So anyway, let's do the news, which again, not a whole lot, and we're kind of repeating ourselves, but not really. From last week, we got another trailer for series 12 of Doctor Who, which contains a lot of the clips that were in the trailer that we got and talked about last week, with just a few more clips that were new or clips from the same episode because you recognize some characters, but they're different shots. So not entirely new stuff in as far as content in the trailer, except we finally have a return date announcement. And apparently Easter Saturday is going to be New Year's Day again. So we technically did get Doctor Who in 2019. It was January 1st, 2019. So we were completely Doctor Who-less this year, but now Doctor Who is going to return January 1st, 2020, at least as far as the series premiere. I guess we can assume that that's going to be the series premiere. It's not going to be like a holiday, like New Year's Day special. So
it's kind of like when they did like the Sherlock premieres on New Year's Day.
Yeah.
Back when Sherlock was a thing.
Yeah. No. and they've not said yet with this when the rest of the series going forward how it's going to go about airing, because I can't imagine they're moving Doctor Who to Wednesday nights.
I thought I saw somewhere it's going to be on Sundays now, or Sundays like
with
before.
That one being the exception.
Yeah, I read it's gonna be like it's gonna do New Year's Day, and then the rest is gonna move to Sunday. From this article I read, which I can't find that article again.
I want to say it was Radio Times because I was looking at it earlier and I should have linked to it and I wasn't thinking. I was at work when I found it, so yeah, you know how that goes.
I haven't had a chance to look for any articles. I happened to see the trailer on Twitter of all places and shared it from there. So
like, yay!
I did read that this was like part 1, so I can't imagine they're gonna wait too long for part 2. Like this is like the first part of a.
Yeah, supposedly we're gonna get multi-parters back, like 2-parters back as well. So
hopefully, yay, and that.
yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. That some of the Peter Capaldi ones were good, but then there were a couple that were just like,
Yeah.
But any who is good who. So
Yeah.
Indeed.
I will take what I can get.
mm-hmm.
So that means that we have slightly under a month till Doctor Who returns. So yay! That's exciting. And that's it. Actually, we're gonna do that, and the poll is up for the book club, so you can go and vote for the first book of 2020.
Yeah. mm-hmm.
Holy cow! Here we are, guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
There was another article I was seeing. It's like, hey, we've only got one more month left in the decade, and I'm like, that's a weird way to think of it, but okay.
Yeah, it's like, the fact that we're coming up a new year, it's like, oh yeah, the year, it seems like it's gone by really quickly, but to say 2020, there's just something very weird.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if the Rockin' New Year's with Bob Hope and or Dick Clark and Ryan Seacrest, excuse me, if they're going to have Barbara Walters.
That's what everybody wants.
This is 2020.
It's like, come on, we got it.
Do the thing.
Do the thing. Come on, guys.
The clock doesn't change unless Barbara Walters goes, I'm Barbara Walters, and this is 2020.
Yeah. Although all the 2020 vision jokes will no longer be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, our book for this month for Goodreads is Shining Darkness. And then our poll. Our books the choices are Gallifrey Chronicles, Doctor Trap, Winner Takes All, and Infinity Doctors, which got mentioned on the last podcast. So, and voting goes till the end of the month.
The end of the year.
End of the year.
Yeah.
You can't vote often, but you can vote for one and then change your mind and revote.
Yep.
And if you vote early, then you've done it.
Exactly.
So there's that. And then we don't have any feedback other than Brandon's comment, because it just so happened after we last week's episode where we talked about all the Doctor Anniversary specials, and it happened to pop up on Facebook the anniversary of Dimensions in Time, and I shared it on our Facebook, and I'm like, what are your thoughts of Dimensions in Time? And Brandon from Cinema Cavalcade was like, worst thing to come out of Doctor Who ever.
You
were entitled to your opinion, Brandon.
Mm-hmm. I don't think too many are going to disagree.
Yeah,
No.
I mean, it has its little moments, but yeah, it's definitely it was a charity special. You just kind of have to remind yourself of that.
Yeah. Or they could have.
I would still rather watch it than Scream of the Shockout.
Yeah. Or they could have at least
Fair
picked
enough.
something else to cross it with than EastEnders.
Yeah, well, at the time, the audience outside of the UK wasn't as big a concern.
True.
Yeah, they were doing
unlike
this
now, where they realize, how many millions of us that are not in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
Although there are so many people that, we have BritBox and all those things. So there's a lot of people over in the United States, at least, and elsewhere, I'm sure, who are watching British TV shows other than Doctor Who, even. So
Yeah, I'm raising my hand right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh my!
So the world was a much different place in 1993. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of BritBox, and streaming services, there's a segue in there somewhere that I tried to grasp, and
hey, it was,
it works. It works.
Streaming services. There's a lot of them, guys, and we're going to talk about one today that you might have heard of.
So that's it's been what? It's like like 3 weeks tomorrow.
4 weeks.
Something like 4 weeks.
4 weeks.
I've been in turkey coma. I don't know time.
It's 4 weeks.
Okay, 4 weeks.
4, yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
it's you've had time to ogle it at least.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's been not quite a month since Disney Plus launched, and at this point, we've all had a chance to get into it and start watching things and get a feel for the platform and everything. So we thought we'd take a look and give our opinions on the latest streaming service to join the fold. So before we get into actual content, because I know there's a lot to talk about there, there's the adorable green elephant in the room.
Yes. Yes. Oh, we need merchandising.
The worst kept spoiler secret.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, we'll get to the adorable green elephant in the room here in a bit. I know y'all are chomping at the bit.
We'll get there.
We will talk about content to a point, but we could save like full-on reviews of like actual shows once they're finished releasing, because we are getting one episode at a time. So yes, we will talk The Mandalorian as a whole once we get the full season in 4 more weeks. So.
and those like 3 people who have not watched it or have been able to avoid the memes and the spoilers are like, what the heck are they talking about?
Yeah, exactly. That would have been Chauncey like 2 days ago, where I finally convinced him. He's like, okay, I'm gonna watch it, and he sat there and binged all 4 episodes in one sitting. I was so proud.
Yeah,
he hadn't.
I think he would have watched.
Yeah, I know. No, he's watching Cheers for the 5 billionth time again. That's what he's doing.
Oh goodness!
I'm about ready to take I'm about ready to change the Netflix password on him and not tell him. Disney Plus only.
No, he isn't anywhere near you, so he didn't overhear you just say that. Good.
He'll probably listen to it later.
Yeah.
Anyway, so let's talk the platform first and launch day specifically for those of us. So I was one of the people that did not sign up early. So because I knew that I was going to do the Disney Plus and Hulu, ESPN, Nat Geo, whatever bundle, because I already had Hulu and wanted to keep Hulu and therefore, keep that account and not have to cancel and all that fun stuff. So did anybody pre-order, or did you guys all wait till launch day?
I pre-ordered for I'm doing month, but I was thinking I might down the road switch to yearly.
Okay.
Just to save some
Yeah.
I intended to get the Hulu bundle because I have Hulu, but then my brother-in-law beat us to it and is like, because he has the Netflix account and just everyone has their own profile, so he did the same thing with Disney Plus, and I didn't know that was going to be a thing. So I'm glad he told me that before I changed my account. But I'm just like, so he's paying for it, and I was like, well, okay, if you're gonna pay for it, sure.
Yeah. Yeah. So launch day. If you were on, if you were online, if you were online at any point, you probably saw that launch day was a bit of a fustercluck.
Yeah.
You know,
for
I
a lot
wasn't.
of people.
Yeah, and I wasn't surprised.
Yeah.
I
It
wasn't either.
happens. Yeah, it happens with any of these new streaming. Like, I know there are examples, and my turkey-addled brain right now is not thinking of them. But anytime there's a new internet thing,
Mm-hmm.
there are going to be bugs on the first day.
Yeah.
Just
I
plan
mean,
for it.
your gaming apps,
Yeah.
all that's gonna. Because I
The
only
bigger the
had.
hype, the bigger the bandwidth suck.
Mhm.
And even
Yeah.
they can plan for it, and it's still just there's just going to be
Yeah.
bugs that
Because I
aren't
only
going to show
had.
up until people are actually using it. So
Because I had one problem like mid-afternoon because I was checking during lunch break to show somebody, what the app looked like. Of course, it was down, but I was up pretty early release day because it was just like Christmas came early, so
Yeah.
checked email, got it, downloaded the app, watched The Mandalorian, and then headed off to work running on fumes. But it was worth it.
Yeah, see, I personally didn't really have any problems. I was able to get in, create my Disney Plus account, connect it to my existing Hulu account, and set up the billing and start using the online. I've been using it purely in the browser.
Okay.
I have not used the app yet.
I've used the app and I have used the Fire Stick, and I don't know if you ladies have now noticed, but I just noticed yesterday they now have a continue watching bar. So if you start something, it's like, oh yeah, I forgot I wanted to come back to that. Like,
yeah,
nice.
Why that wasn't
Thank you.
something that was included from the very start
Exactly.
does not make sense.
That was my only
I
little
wondered
quibble.
about that.
That was my only little quibble, first thing out of the gate.
I know.
Was there
I mean,
no-
like, okay, it's like, okay, guys, you guys own Hulu. You must know that even if you just watch one episode of something on Hulu, it gets added to your watch list whether or not you want it there.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, tell me, what, where was I on, Gargoyles or whatever it was we were watching yesterday? Which Muppet Babies episode have we not watched 3 more times?
Yeah.
Alex?
Yeah.
I'm not complaining. He loves it, and it's cute,
Yeah.
and it makes him happy. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, I mean, at the very beginning, it did not necessarily matter to me because the stuff I was watching was stuff that's only getting released one episode at a time, and I was not stopping. So it's like if I started an episode, I watched until it was done. But now I'm getting to the point where it's like today when I went to pick up, and it was like, here's where you left off. Granted, there was like 2 minutes left, but still, it was like it picked up where I had left off last night. So that is a function now, which is nice, especially if you're going to be watching something like a feature-length movie where you may not be able to finish it all in one go.
And I love how many profiles you can have, how many people can be streaming at once, and how many people can be watching the same thing. I mean, it's just yay.
Yep. Yeah, I've been using it in the browser. I've been using the app on my phone. We have it downloaded on our Xbox One. The only problem is, and this isn't Disney Plus's fault, my in-laws, they have an Xbox 360. See,
oh sure, yep.
And there's not an app for Xbox 360.
Yep.
And the 360 is hooked up to the big TV in the main living room. We just have our little TV with our well, it's not a little TV, but it's a smaller flat screen in the playroom.
Same with my mom's smart TV. Hers is it missed the cutoff for the Disney Plus app. So Merry Christmas, Mom. I got her a Fire Stick, and we're cracking it out early, and she's been enjoying.
We gotta figure out what we're gonna do. Maybe a Fire Stick may be the solution here, because they have an older Apple TV and they have the Xbox 360, and we're like, well, what can we do? Because Jared and I have been watching Mandalorian, and we keep telling his parents, you guys gotta watch it, but it's like, how? Because they don't, they don't want to come in and sit in the Anyway, it's our living arrangements. It's a thing.
Yep.
It's take too long for me to explain it.
Yeah.
I understand. You want to watch it on a nice, bigger screen instead of teeny tiny. If you have to, you will. You can.
I mean, it's not teeny tiny, but
No.
their TV's bigger.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh. So yeah, I was fortunate that we didn't have necessarily too many issues. I did have trouble getting Chauncey into it. For whatever reason, I would give him the login because he's my husband. So I would give him log information, and it would be like, "Oh, sorry, this password's incorrect."
I had that happen a couple of times.
I just entered
mine.
it. Like I literally just made the password this, and it's like, "Oh no, sorry, I can't." We don't
It's just like
understand
it
what
didn't
you're
have
trying
a
to say.
catch up.
Yeah, so it's like I had to change the password several times before it would work for him.
Oh boy.
And it still took several days before he could get it to work. So that was our biggest issue. But it doesn't. But once we got in and got going, it's been pretty smooth sailing. It doesn't seem like our account was one of the however many that were hacked and sold on the dark web.
I don't think mine was, but as soon as I saw them, like, I'm going back, I'm changing my password.
Yeah. It's like I had to change my password several times anyway, so
yeah.
If it had been hacked, it got changed.
Yeah,
I was
like, you're probably okay.
Yeah.
It's just like, could we have a two-step authentication thing where they send you a text with a code you have to enter to agree to the, okay,
Make
yes,
sure,
you may log in.
There's no ne'er-do-wells or...
Yes.
Yeah.
There will be no Jedi mind tricks.
Yeah. No. I mean, I know lots of things are sold on the dark web, but that's just weird.
Yeah.
And it was weird because that day also I had to go in and get an oil change after work. So and they have the TV in there, and it's I get off at noon, and so it's the 12 o'clock midday news, and I don't really watch the news anyway, but there it is. And they're like, Disney Plus, people are being people's accounts are being sold on the internet, and I'm like, huh? It's like, wow, that was random.
Yeah. I was like, you can only use it. I mean, I guess you could use the web app, the non-app, just the web access anywhere. Because right now, technically, Disney Plus is only available in the United States, Canada, and like the Netherlands or something like that.
Yeah. The UK is a couple more weeks, but then I think I've got a friend who is in Italy and then one in Spain. They won't be getting it until March.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess if you had someone's login and used it on the internet, then I guess in theory you could use it in other countries where it's not released yet. But the
unless
app
they region lock it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or unless you're using a VPN.
Right.
Yeah. Which that may be it too. So I'm not a hacker. I don't think like a criminal, so I don't know.
No, I don't. Yep.
So, like, I don't understand how that works. So this goes to show how far my criminal career would go. Not very far.
Yeah. I mean, we know Team Leverage, but Parker would be sending glares to Hardison big time if he pulled that.
Yeah.
We at the Five Fangirls podcast do not condone piracy or in any way, shape, or form.
Because she was giving him the big time stink eye when he told her that he had to download Doctor Who by nefarious methods.
Yeah. So, to say the least, launch day was kind of a mess for a lot of people. But, now that we're almost a month out, it seems to have leveled out and most people are using it and they're happy with it. the complaints that I kept seeing on social media of people going, it doesn't have X, how dare they? And I'm like, well, they never said everything was going to be available on the very first day.
And it's exactly contracts people.
Yeah.
They are either working on them or they have, like with Solo and then a couple of the Avengers movies, it's just like,
well, it wasn't even stuff like that. Like it was old stuff that in theory Disney should have the license for.
Yeah, like I saw they had
the
old Adventures in Babysitting, which I love that movie. I grew up watching that so many times, and they're like, this won't be available until like June 2021 or something ridiculous like that. I'm like, what?
Yeah, because I mean, who knows? It could be the thing of getting it remastered for that,
the higher definition,
definition, or they could also be going back and maybe getting like stuff, because I've noticed if you scroll over, sometimes they will have something in the special features, trailers, or they might have more behind the scenes stuff, or they might be doing interviews with former cast members, and they're just keeping it on the QT until, hey, surprise.
Yeah.
So who knows? I mean, I also kind of feel like that, okay, you had your big launch day, and like you look at everything that's on here, and I feel like a kid in a candy shop, and I'm like, where the heck do I even start?
I haven't even scratched the surface yet.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay, what are you guys gonna do to I mean, because obviously they're probably gonna do more new shows as time goes on, but maybe some older stuff too, because honestly, the older stuff is what brought me in the first place.
Like
and
the
it's like
old Mickey Mouse clubs.
Yeah.
Kids Incorporated.
Yeah. I was like, maybe they're holding back a few things. Like, hey, now we've got this, and you watch it and enjoy it.
Yep.
I mean, it's going to be like Netflix, where stuff is going to come and go.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
but not for for eons and eons.
Yeah.
And which, when Netflix was really starting to be a thing, and Hulu, I really like I kept thinking, why can't they do this with the Disney stuff? Like I was thinking this years ago, like I want to see all that those old Disney classics, not just the animated movies, but yeah, like you said, the older the TV shows, like even like the Walt stuff, the Wonderful World of Disney.
Yes.
Where Walt would get on and talk about whatever they were doing at Disneyland, or
I want the one with Ludwig von Drake.
Yes.
Scrooge McDuck is the psychologist.
Or there was one I watched when I was a kid. It was a Halloween one with Jonathan Winters talking to the pumpkin in the crystal ball, and you saw and they had all the Halloween themed Disney shorts, and they
had the Sleepy Hollow. Yes, I remember that one.
I want to see that, even though Sleepy Hollow and
because they had that weird kind of foam talking pumpkin for the Halloween special.
Yes, it's like, can we put that on there too? It's like,
I mean, the stuff that they used to show on the old Disney Channel.
It's like I feel like we're gonna get a lot more as time goes on, and this is just
please, if there's anybody listening, more Humphrey the Bear cartoons.
Oh my gosh!
There's only a few. There's only a few, and they're kind of hidden in the Donald Duck area.
Yeah,
but there are a few there. But I want more of them. I love the Humphrey the Bear ones.
Well, that's government property.
Yes.
Well, there is a spot in Disney Plus where you can put requests.
Yep, I know. I have to make a list first before I start.
Yeah, and double check that it's not already there, but
or if they didn't rename it something else.
Yeah.
Yep.
So. Well, and in some cases,
we're very excited about these things.
Yes. Well, in some cases, the stuff that is there is, in some cases, they've screwed it up. Like, what does somebody say? I read something that one of the cartoon series that the episodes are out of order.
That was for I want to say it was like one of the superhero.
Yeah.
Oh, I
superhero
remember.
ones.
Oh, I
And
know
then
who.
I think Sean had posted it.
Yeah.
And then George Lucas went back with the Star Wars Han Solo Greedo scene for the
Oh my
3D version that
gosh.
never got made.
Yeah.
They both shoot at the same time, and then Greedo keeps saying McClunky,
I'm
which
just like,
is Rhodian. Somebody did a little research. It was Rhodian for "I will end you." It's like, okay, we didn't need the McClunky.
Yeah.
oh boy. It's like,
Some-
guys, just stop messing with it.
So
Just stop.
George, you've got your $5 billion. Go away.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Get your fingers out of the pie.
it's in good
You
hands with
sold it
Filoni
off.
and Feige.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go away and sit on your pile of money. Oh.
You can consult with Filoni and Feige.
Yeah.
Yes.
But let them make the final decision.
Yeah.
I know. It's like, let's just stop. Stop.
Yeah. In some cases, in the case of like The Simpsons, they changed the aspect ratio from 4:3 to 16:9, which
I
cut
can't figure
off
out.
things in the frame.
I can't figure out what the reasoning behind that would be, because even older shows on Hulu and Netflix, they keep the aspect ratio.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, why do that? But I don't
Well,
know.
they did it. They did it because starting at the 20th season, it is 16:9. So they wanted it to match the later seasons.
I still ain't buying it, but sure.
No, I'm calling shenanigans.
That's what Disney said.
Yeah, I mean that's their reasoning for it.
They are going to
it's a silly reason.
Yeah. In next year, they are going to make it so that you can choose whether you want it to be 4:3 or 16:9, at least for the episodes where it applies. Obviously, once you get to a certain point, they're automatically 16:9. So
right, which if it was made in that aspect ratio, great, leave it there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever.
So, yeah. There's been some people have found some censoring the documentary that won, I believe it won the Oscar for the feature-length documentary this past Oscar season. I can't think of the name of it now. The guy,
Free Solo.
Yeah, Free Solo.
I just read that article.
Yeah. I guess there's a few times where the guys drop F-bombs and they've censored those, which I guess that makes sense.
And then they even, for the making of Star Wars documentary, they digitally erased the cigarette that Harrison Ford was smoking. It's like, guys, it was the 70s. Smoking was a thing back then.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, in the same vein of, well, it was a different time, things were more acceptable, or different things were acceptable. They have also included some disclaimers for some of the older movies that would be, and rightly so, but are considered more racist through today's lens. So like Dumbo, where it's got Jim Crow as an essentially character that's named Jim Crow.
Yeah.
Although the Jungle Book is not a whole lot better. So
I will point one out that I noticed that I was like, why is this even here? And it wasn't on a movie. It was on one of the Donald Duck shorts. And I think it's like Mr. Duck steps out. Anyway, he's going to pick Daisy up for a date, and the nephews come in and mess things up.
Right.
And it has one of those, little disclaimers, this was, made in a different time or whatever the wording is. I can't remember. So I'm watching this. I'm like, okay, well, what would be offensive here? Because that's like, that kind of gets my mind going. So I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, I don't know what's objectionable here. Are they objecting to the fact that he goes to the door to not, to instead of just, honking the horn saying, come on out? Or something like that. I'm like, so I kind of wonder if some of these just got the blanket statement, whether or not
It's possible.
it had it. And then there was another one, same thing. It was a goofy cartoon about, it was how to ski. And again, nothing objectionable. I mean, maybe kids don't know that back in the 40s, people used to use hot water bottles to keep warm in the winter.
Yeah.
Or something like
I know.
But yeah, that one kind of, it's more of a, that one made me laugh because I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I don't know what's wrong about Goofy learning how to ski and being very inept at it. But yes, I mean, it where it is appropriate, it is needed. It's just sometimes they're like, I don't know why it's there.
Yeah. Yeah. Although even with that, there are some complaints of the way that Disney has it because it's in the description of the whatever it is, as opposed to part like a slide or something at the beginning of the movie, unlike what some other companies have done when it's in similar situations. So it's like, people aren't necessarily going to see that disclaimer / whatever you want to call it.
Well, this one I just
not reading
pulled up
the description, but
yeah, this one I pulled up. It's the Silly Symphony Santa's Workshop,
yeah,
and it says like right on there because it used to be it was just in the details, so you had to actually go there. But now it's saying it's actually on there on the front thing before you start the cartoon. But it says this program is presented as originally created, may contain outdated cultural depictions. Which I don't know. I haven't watched this one in eons, so I'll pull it up when
I haven't watched any of that stuff that's would have that on there yet. So
I'm a sucker for these old shorts. So that's first thing I pulled up was Steamboat Willie.
Yeah, so a lot of people started. So
that one, and then the one where Mickey, Goofy, Donald, they all go in the camper.
Yes.
I love that one.
Yeah.
Just them eating popcorn like a typewriter.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Like these are all things from my childhood. I mean, I know that's kind of cliche to say, but you have no idea how many times I watched so many of these old shorts. And I didn't even realize that even when I was a kid, they were already, 30, 40, 50 years old.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
I just love them.
Yeah. So, I guess with that can be our segue into what have people been watching. So, I mean, based on my Facebook feed, it seems to be a combination of some of the new stuff and then people watching old stuff, not stuff that's like kind of newish, although there have been some people that are a little behind with some things and are like just now watching, Endgame and Infinity War. But for the most part, it seems to be it's either brand new programming or they're like, binging stuff that's 30, 40, 50 plus years old for the most part. So me, other than a couple of episodes of Hannah Montana, I have not watched. All I've watched is new stuff, new programming. I've been watching the Marvel Hero Project, which is the program with kids that are making a difference, and I swear almost every time they manage to make me cry.
Same.
It's so heartwarming. And then the Imagineering story, which is so good. So good. I did not know what to expect with this. And I'm self-described. I'm a huge Disney fan, not just of the movies and the cartoons and the characters, but the parks and, anything and everything. Like, I consume as much as possible about the Disney, Walt himself and the company and the history and everything. And there's a lot of, there's a lot of pictures and video and stories that I have heard and knew, but there is a crap ton of stories, and especially video, especially vintage stuff of when Walt was still alive, that I have never, ever seen before. That this has got to be stuff that they just had sitting around, be like, well, we'll use it when the time is right, and they found the right time for it. So,
well, you make your own streaming service, and you have complete control over how this is distributed. That makes sense. I mean, there's stuff. I mean, that kind of stuff. There'd be people, like you said, you want to see this, and it's going to be really interesting and really cool, and it's stuff that hasn't seen the light of day for who knows how long.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's perfect time to do this.
Yeah,
because it's going to find its audience.
Yeah.
Or its audience is going to find it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It's like if you even have a vague interest in the history of Disney, watch this. And you will learn so much. It is so good. So, like those two are like besides the Mandalorian. We'll get to the Mandalorian in a second, because I know that's the one everyone wants to talk about. But we'll get to we'll save the best for last. So, but I haven't really watched anything else yet.
The Jeff Goldblum thing has been kind of interesting.
Yeah, I know Chauncey's been watching that. I have not watched any of it yet. But he's got a bit of a man crush on Jeff Goldblum, so
fair enough. I can understand that.
He and Jeff could be good friends if their paths ever crossed.
It would be interesting to see Jeff Goldblum and his reaction with the VR machine.
Yeah. So I know Chauncey's been watching that. He's been watching The Simpsons. And then I finally got to watch The Mandalorian, but like I said, we'll get to that. So
yeah. Well, I've been really just, the newest thing, the only new thing I've been watching is Mandalorian, but I've just been going through and picking out, like, I watched Lady and the Tramp, the animated one.
Yep.
I've been watching Gargoyles, and I've kind of been hopping around because I'm like, I can't decide what I want to stick with.
Yep. Gummy
and
bears,
mostly I've been throwing stuff on. Yeah, I've been throwing stuff on my watch list. So like I've got DuckTales, I got Goof Troop, I've got a bunch of the old Tailspin. I've got a bunch of the old Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Goofy cartoons. I did put up their Little Mermaid live because I didn't get to watch it when it was on
actually
TV.
Pretty decent. That was decent.
Yeah, and I thought it was hilarious. I got John Stamos to play Chef Louis.
Oh, he does a good job. So
I'm looking forward to watching that.
I'm going back.
Remember the Titans because
watching Rebels and Clone Wars just to get caught back up.
Yeah, funny thing because like my dad was asking me like, "What's this Mandalorian thing?" and and I was just kind of explaining to him, and then he finally watched like the first 2 episodes, and he's like, "Oh my gosh, this is so great," and all these things, and it fixes so many, or he's just going on and on about it. And he was talking, we were just talking Star Wars in general, but he's like, "Now what is this Clone Wars and Rebels? I'm not really into animated stuff." And I'm like, "Well, Dad, it's not just for kids. I mean, kids can watch it, but it actually fixes a lot of the problems people have with the prequels. So if you want to, go for it. I mean, there it is."
Start with the movie, then do the Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Then go to Rebels.
Yeah. And so I was like, "Yeah, it's like, Dad, you really ought to watch that, because yeah, we've been talking a lot of Star Wars lately."
Yeah.
Well, considering we're how many days away? 18?
Yeah.
Or 17, depending on
Depending on what day you're going.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like Rocketeer's on there.
Oh, yes.
It's like I gotta watch that one again.
Yeah.
And just all like, again, it's like like I said, I'm a kid in a candy store, and it's like, oh, where do I even start?
Yep.
It's like mom gave like I only have so much time. What am I gonna do? What am I gonna do with what I have? And I'm like, I'm kind of playing with the idea of maybe I could watch all the animated movies in order of release. That would make sense, and that would give me an outline to work with.
Yep. Because when I fired it up for Mom, we watched the animated, or not the animated, but the live action Lady and the Tramp, and she's just like, "Is Swiss Family Robinson on there?" I'm just like, just a second. Search. Brought up 2. There's a black and white one from the 40s, and then there's the most current one from the 60s. And I was like, here we go, Mom. Ooh. Yep.
Yeah.
There's just a treasure trove of stuff.
Yeah. And of course, we've been watching, stuff for Alex, so mostly Muppet Babies. I tried to get him interested in Winnie the Pooh, like the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, he wasn't that impressed, although he did sit through Winnie the Pooh and the Honey Tree, that segment of the movie from way back when. Then when it was over, he's like, "Oh, okay, then this episode's over. I'm gonna go play." It's like, "No, there's more," but no, he was gone. So I'm like, "Well, we'll ease into that one."
Yeah.
But yeah, and he's been watching a lot of Muppet everything, Muppet movie, Muppet Treasure Island. Oh my gosh, he loved that. It was so adorable watching him just eat that movie up.
Has he seen the Muppets Christmas Carol yet?
We did. I watched that with him the day after Thanksgiving. I think there's too many talky bits for him.
Okay.
Treasure Island, at least, like there was like jokes and gags and and crazy stuff going on. I didn't realize. I mean, because Muppet Christmas Carol is one of my absolute favorite Christmas movies. And I was like, "Oh, here, you're gonna love this," because he's loving Muppet everything. But yeah, he's like, they'd start talking and he'd get bored. So I'm like, "Well, you're 2, so it's okay." But yeah. Muppet Treasure Island, he adored it. He just sat there and he giggled, and oh, it was so cute watching him. I was just like, this makes me so happy.
There's been like shows that I've been meaning to watch, just waiting so I can sit down and binge them. But I've like, besides all the new stuff that I tried, I've been watching a lot of like my childhood movies, like the movies that came out in the late 80s and early 90s. Like I watched Aladdin and Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast and all the ones that I haven't seen in a while.
I've got to go back and watch a couple of the made for TV Halloween movies, like Mr. Boogedy and The Bride of Boogedy. I remember those. Ooh.
I found out just randomly the Hocus Pocus, they have the 25th edition. Like it has like, when you watch it, like they have like a bit of commentary, bit of behind the scenes, behind like little fun trivia facts and deleted or the extended scenes while you're watching the movie. Like they would pop up on like a tiny screen. It's kind of cool. I didn't finish it, but I was like,
I do like that they got like some. It's not just the movie, you know. It's like for some of them they've got extras, and you know, you can watch like trailers and.
Which I've been doing. That's what I've been doing. I've been watching some of like the trailers for like the old movies, and like, yeah, I definitely could tell when this movie came out. The trailer definitely screams, "Oh, this is from the '90s. This is from the '80s. This is from the '40s." Like,
Yeah.
Just fun to watch to see like how that's just changed.
Yeah. So,
one of my favorite things is like they have those collections, like they have the Disney princesses and and what else, like the car. I don't know what else I'm trying to think off the top of my head, but one of my favorite things is that they have the by decades. So like, oh, I want to watch something from the 70s. You can go to 1970s and see all the things that came out, all the movies, all the shows that came out in the 1970s. It's
Which is helpful.
It's a nice way to look for things, especially if you don't necessarily know what you want to watch, but you know what like mood you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I was scrolling through the decades one, and it's just kind of cool to see how much more, like, okay, so the 20s and 30s, they have, you know, a lot of the shorts, but then there's, you know, Snow White is in there. Then you go, and as you go down, and then you get like to the 80s and 90s, and it just keeps going and going and going and going, and how much they had. So I don't know, it's like, it's kind of like there's a bit of a history lesson for you there, even.
Yeah.
Just seeing how much what they made when and how much.
And some surprised me. Like, I'm like, I could have sworn this came out later or earlier. What? Remember, which actually happens to be a lot because like I think the one that got me the most was Sword in the Stone. For some reason, I thought that came out like in the 80s. Like, no, it's actually like it was 60 something. Like,
yeah. It was probably a re-release that you saw. Like
maybe it might have been
something.
That was like, you know, when they were putting everything out on VHS.
Yeah, they'd pull stuff out of the vault and give you an anniversary edition. They'd be like,
"Here you go."
Like, here you go. So.
But even I think they've even added some stuff since the last time I flipped through here, because I'm like, I don't remember seeing that.
Well,
of course,
it's a new month. They just added some new stuff. So plus there's the stuff that releases on a weekly basis.
Right.
So, you know, now it's like Friday, you know, for a lot of people, it's like best day of the week. So, you know, it's the end of the work week, going into the weekend. It's like, no, it means new content on Disney Plus.
Yep. Or it isn't like, you know, traditional TV. Friday is the death slot, and now they're like, oh, now we're gonna put everything on our streaming service on Friday.
Yeah.
Well, now see, back in the day when we were growing up, it was Friday was always the prime time.
Well, yes, TGIF.
TGIF, right. And then it was Thursday for a while. So
nowadays it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
TiVo and streaming services.
Yes.
It's like, you know, sit down and watch what you want to watch when you want to watch it. And if you're home on a Friday night and nothing to do, well, there you go.
So I guess speaking of those weekly releases, let's talk about the armor-plated elephant in the room.
Yes.
The Mandalorian, or as I've been calling it, Adventures in Babysitting Mandalorian style.
Exactly. Yes.
You can call it. I've seen it called so many different things.
I was a Mandalorian babysitter.
The Mad Dadlorian.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Or for those who are familiar with classic sort of samurai movies, Lone Wolf and Cub.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So I had no idea what to expect with this.
Same.
Going
Same.
into it, I've said in the past, like, I like Star Wars. I've grown to like it even more with the new trilogy. But so I assumed that I would at the very least be entertained by this, but I had no idea. I mean, I knew it would be good because one, as much as people like to complain, Disney does kind of know what they're doing when it comes to storytelling. And to have Jon Favreau be in charge, this is the guy that brought us Iron Man. He's the guy. He's the guy really in tandem. Besides Kevin Feige, Kevin Feige wasn't even in the picture then. So really, Jon Favreau is the one we can thank for the MCU.
Yep.
Because he's the one that brought us the first Iron Man movie.
Now, if Kathleen Kennedy would somehow say she was going to retire, I'd hope Favreau would step up and
either he or Dave Filoni or Filoni. I can never say his name.
Filoni, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Or the tag team. Or a tag team of Favreau and Filoni.
Really.
Yeah.
That's what Chauncey said after he started watching it. He got to the end of the first episode. Even before he was done with the first episode, he's like, they really need to keep Dave Filoni doing more of this.
Yes,
the Star Wars
he needs to be on permanent payroll.
If he became Star Wars as Feige, I would be a happy lady.
Yeah.
But yeah, Mandalorian. You're right. I didn't know what to expect. I mean, I'd seen the promo, seen the trailer, but I was like, okay, this is sort of. And I mean, I grew up watching a lot of westerns because my dad's big into westerns. Like John Wayne was a fixture in my childhood as alongside Disney. So, and all those tropes, those archetypes, I understand. It's like has a very much a western flavor to it.
Yes,
and it's. It's like, yes, like it's all of that. It's like, this, and it's so interesting that they do so much with so little.
Yes.
Like there's like, we don't even know this guy's name. Like, does he even have a name? I don't know. But I love this character. And Pedro Pascal, who is playing the Mandalorian, I've never seen him in anything else because I know he was
on Game of Thrones.
I know he was on Game of Thrones. I didn't watch Game of Thrones, but the fact that he could there are moments like we're watching it and we'll have to stop and like, did you see what he did? And it's just his body language. He doesn't even have to do anything really, but like maybe the way he shifts his weight or what he does with his hands or something communicates what he's thinking, what he's feeling. He doesn't have to say a word. You can't even see his face.
No.
And I'm just like, dude, whatever award you can get for this. I mean, I'm sure, because it's Star Wars and it's streaming, the Emmys or whatever will just be like, whatever.
Saturn Awards.
Saturn Awards. Yes.
And the soundtrack.
The soundtrack is amazing because it feels like it's Star Wars. I can always hear just little hints of John Williams homages in there, but it's its own thing.
Yep, it's from the same guy who did the Black Panther soundtrack.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Man, he won an Oscar for that, so.
Yep.
Yeah. So like I have heard people like, oh, it doesn't sound like Star Wars. I'm like, well, that's because this is a different story of Star Wars. This isn't
this isn't the Skywalker saga, so you're not going to get the. It's the same reason we didn't get that epic, John Williams score that we always expect from the beginning of Star Wars movies for either Solo or Rogue One, because it's not part of the Skywalker saga. So you're not going to get that same thing.
This is about the Jedi. This is the lone gunman in space.
Right.
And I'm like, that's just such a good idea. And really, it's like, why didn't anyone think of this before now? Because it just fits so well. Also, we have learned that Boba Fett was a chump.
Yeah.
Because compared to all these other Mandalorians, like, we're getting lore about how their culture works. And it's not like a hit you over the head info dump. They just kind of do their thing, and there it is. And he says, weapons are my religion. And it's like, yep, that makes sense with everything I've seen so far.
Mm-hmm.
And there were a few nods to the Star Wars holiday special.
Yep.
Which those are more like Easter eggs than anything.
Yep.
It's just like, haha, that's cool.
Yeah.
Got it.
It's like, we're not canonizing that. We're just paying homage.
Yep.
Yes.
Just having some fun.
Yeah.
So, but they are doing a good job with like Easter eggs and stuff to connecting it to the larger mythos that's the canon, the Disney Star Wars canon that they have established. So
Nick Nolte can pull off a very good Ugnaught.
Yeah.
I have spoken.
This is the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've got some, we've not seen everybody that we know is coming yet. Like, we have not seen Ming Na Wen yet.
Nope.
So there's still some recognizable faces that are still to come in the next 4 episodes, but there have been some what would be recognizable names, but you don't necessarily realize it's them because they aren't playing a humanoid
you don't necessarily see their faces.
So it's like, that first bounty that he goes after, the guy that he captures, Horatio Sands from Saturday Night Live back in the day. It's like,
okay. And it's kind of like, okay, yeah, we've cast these names that you would recognize, but the story is what is important first, and we're not going to cater to there's this super famous person that we're going to try to cash in on their popularity or whatever, and you know what, it works, and it kind of seems like everybody's on that same page.
And it's nice seeing Werner Herzog on the screen too.
Chauncey was so excited when he realized that Warner was going to be in this. I don't quite get it, but
although it's him that we have to thank for the baby being a puppet and not CGI.
Yes.
He reportedly told the filmmakers that they were cowards if they did it in CGI.
Yes. Werner,
there's a little
much.
bit of digital manipulation just
there is
amp it up a little, because there's some things that don't necessarily come through,
right?
But for the most part, it's a completely practical effect. It's a puppet on set, and it's the cutest.
I know, and the first words out of my mouth when that little pod opened and there's the head, there's the ears, I'm like, it's a baby Yoda. That's what everybody's been calling it, because
that's what they were calling it when they were filming it.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. Because it's like they don't even have a name for what his species is. So
well, we didn't even know it was a him until this last episode.
Exactly.
Because they kept it gender neutral whenever referring to it. So
and I like the nickname too that they have been giving him, Tiny. This is not Yoda.
Tiny. The child.
Womp rat.
Womp rat.
Yep.
And it's a tip. And he's 50 years old, but he's a typical toddler. It's like, don't touch that.
So clearly, this again, we're getting into lore. This is how whatever Yoda's species is, they age very slowly,
but apparently not that slowly, because I was watching some video, someone doing an explanation. It's like, it's 50 right now, and is the equivalent of having a toddler, but when it reaches like 100, it'll be essentially full grown.
Yeah.
So it's going to hit a growth spurt.
Yep.
In the next 50 years.
Yeah.
Which, if you think about human kids, they do most of their growing in the first 15 years. 16, 18, whatever. But and then the rest of your life. But and I'm just like, you're so, like, and every time I think you can't get any cuter. No, he does.
Yes.
He does. It's like, here, we'll put him in a bunch with a bunch of other little kids on this remote planet, and I'm just like,
Or he shows up after the Mando has his fight with that other lady. He's just like, would you like some soup? And he's just like,
he's drinking his soup.
Don't mind me. I'm just watching. Carry on.
So cute. I can't stand it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And apparently the reason there isn't any merchandise yet is because they didn't want to spoil it. Spoil the reveal,
there
which
is
it
some
was. Yeah, there's some now, but it was like, I mean, that
I-
reveal was just too perfect.
I think Favreau had asked them to, like, can we keep this under wraps?
Yeah, because even on set, when people were referring it to as Baby Yoda, and they're like, no, call it something else. Like, we're trying to keep this on the down low.
Yeah,
Right.
so they did a good job.
It's just like Return of the Jedi was called Blue Harvest at the beginning for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, because in that first episode, I know we'll go over the show later in more detail, but in that first episode when he gets the bounty to go after it, I mean, you kind of know it's like, okay, this isn't a typical, he's going after some criminal or bail jumper or whatever. This is something very sensitive and probably going to tug at your heartstrings in some way.
Right.
And so I'm just sitting here thinking, what in the world is this? Is this going on? And this vestige of the Empire, they can't be up. They're up to no good. And then then he meets the bounty droid, which
IG-11.
yeah, IG-11, which
Taika Waititi.
Yep.
he
Initiate self-destruct.
Yeah, he hates droids, and that reveal was done very well in flashback. Why? And and he's just they're fighting over who's gonna get the bounty first, and then it's the baby, and just shoots IG-11 because like, nope, you're not taking this one.
Yeah.
You leave that little precious thing alone.
Yeah. Well, the IG droid also wanted to destroy it. And, he knew at the very least, it's like the bounty you're going to get a full bounty if you return it alive.
Yeah.
So.
But there was still a little, oh, you're cute, I'm going to keep you, maybe.
Yeah.
Or, he actually cared about what happened to this creature.
Yeah. Well, because he knew it was 50 years old, so he assumed it was an adult.
Yeah.
And when he realizes, no, it's a child, that's that's a different thing. Because he himself, he's not, from what we know, he's not a native Mandalorian. He was orphaned. And the Mandalorians took him in and trained him to become a bounty hunter. So
well, this is and this is his calling, I suppose. I mean, he refers to it as his religion, kind of tongue in cheek, but the way he acts, it's like
the way the Mandalorians are.
Yeah, it's like you don't take off his helmet. You don't. Yeah.
Though Mando does need to take a few lessons in baby pooping.
Yeah.
or
just let the baby play with all his switches
buttons.
And stuff. Buttons.
I'm still waiting for baby going, not the daddy, not the Mando.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. This is just it's so
well, and we do realize that the little tyke might be force sensitive.
Yep.
Not a mite.
If.
Now,
which of the other two of the species we know of, they were. I mean, obviously Yoda was extremely force sensitive, and then Yaddle was on the Jedi Council as well. So
yeah. Now, obviously, this child is like there is definitely a limit of what he could do.
Right.
At that age,
because that one little thing, him lifting the big rhino thing, that wiped him out, poor kid.
Oh yeah, big time.
So he can do it. He needs training.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of the season plays out, and where this character may or may not pop up in the future, considering where this is in the timeline. Because at this point, this is like 5 years post Return of the Jedi.
Correct.
And The Force Awakens is supposed to be like 25 years
I'm thinking so.
something like that. So
Yeah.
we're at this point we're like 20 years ish, give or take a few years away from the events of The Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, he still wouldn't be completely grown yet, but he would be closer.
Right.
So yeah, I guess we just have
if he shows up at all, I mean,
yeah.
he doesn't necessarily have to.
Yeah, well, especially considering after the episode 9, we're supposed to essentially walk away from the whole Skywalker thing. So
yeah,
we're supposed to tell other stories instead. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how this plays out, and kind of like the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's like, how much of a crossover are we gonna see?
Exactly.
From TV to movie. We'll just have to wait and see, and until then we can all just go over Baby Yoda.
yes,
Yes.
Yes.
and the minute I can find one that I can afford, that's cute enough. I need a plushie.
Me too.
Baby Yoda plushie.
Oh, there's all sorts of. I found a crochet. If anyone knows how to crochet, I found some crochet patterns. So I don't know how.
Chrissy, you might be winding up with having to get 2, because something tells me you and Alex might be having a.
Yeah, maybe.
Who's going to have it?
Well, him and Charlotte when she's born. We all just may need one each.
Yes. Yes.
It's just the adorable icing on the cake on top of a really good show.
Yeah, I mean, it's even, like
Baby Yoda aside, it's just a really good show. It's written real well. It looks it's shot really well. It's directed really well. And
Bryce Dallas Howard, she did an awesome job directing.
I was this last episode. When her name came up in the credits, I was like, "Wow, really? She directed this?" Like, I didn't even know she directed anything.
She's done some shorts, but this I think was her main doll.
Yeah. So
it makes her only the second woman to direct something in Star Wars.
Which Deborah Chow.
Yep, she did.
The episode previous, and oof, that was a good one too. So
it's
like, hey,
yep.
And I've noticed, I mean, just kind of in passing as I've watched the credits go by, I'm like, they've gotten some Marvel people, some behind the scenes Marvel people in there too. So I'm like, keep doing that. I mean, take from what you know is working.
If you look at
people who are competent, know what they're doing.
Yeah. If you look at the Wikipedia entry, which is always 100% accurate, but if you look at the Wikipedia, I think that obviously Taika Waititi made an appearance as a character in the first episode, but I believe he directed the season finale episode. So, I mean, Jon Favreau, he's high on the totem pole when it comes to the MCU, so it's really easy for him to call on his friends and be like, "Hey, you want to do this?" They'd be like, "Sure."
Don't need
that. They've already started production on season 2. So we know it's going to get a season 2. They're already in production. I think I read something or heard something that The Mandalorian is now the most popular streaming series of all time. It's surpassed Stranger Things.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's hilarious, but I can believe it.
Yeah.
So
this little series that we were like, a Mandalorian, who's going to make, why would we want to watch a TV series about this,
about
not Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Well, actually, he's pretty good. So, Boba who?
And this really gives me hope for the Obi-Wan.
Yes.
Series.
Yes. Because I've been so nervous about so much that's been going on. So, like, if you're out there and the new Star Wars trilogy is just not doing it for you, or for whatever reason, which I can understand, give Mandalorian a chance. I mean, I know I've seen I've seen some people, whenever it gets brought up in some of my Facebook groups, they're like, "Oh, I'm not giving Disney Star Wars a bit of my time, a bit of this." It was like, no. If those movies just really ticked you off, think of it this way: it's not Star Wars the apology, but it's Star Wars going back in the right direction. We should reward them for doing that.
Yeah.
Or
well,
for
Chauncey really, really likes it, and he was definitely one of those people that was not happy with the franchise after The Last Jedi. So
I'm raising my hand over here. Jared would be raising 2 hands and a foot. So
I mean,
we're loving Mandalorian.
Yeah, I mean, I've got my quibbles with Last Jedi. I'm making my peace, so I'm hoping Rise of Skywalker does it, and then Kathleen Kennedy had said something that might have gotten taken out of context, but she had said, it's just like, it's a tough nut to crack because we don't have a lot of source material. It's just like, you have the expanded universe. It's just like, you could have said, we have source material, but we don't know where to start. It's just like, we have this source material, but we want to use new ideas. If she would have said that, then I wouldn't be as quibbly. I mean, the new canon.
I think that's. I mean, I'm playing devil's advocate here. I don't have a dog in this fight, but I mean, because there's a lot in the expanded universe. The problem is with canonizing it, because there was a chunk of time where
there was some continuity errors. Yes,
they let people just write books, not worrying about whether it fit the canon or not.
Yes.
So it's like they have to be very, very choosy about where they pull from.
Yes,
and I'm
the first to agree with that. Yes.
The problem Marvel. The problem is that quote really ticked off a lot of people because they were already upset that, well, you decanonized the Thrawn trilogy, you decanonized everything that I already loved. And if she had said, picking and choosing, which I thought they were going to do, and they said, okay, all that.
Well, they kind of have, but only to a point.
Only to a point. Yeah. Anyway, that might be a different conversation. For
another podcast.
We'll drop that thread at the moment, and we'll pick it back up after we see what happens in Rise of Skywalker.
Sounds good.
Make a difference in our argument.
what I'm saying is, and what and I didn't mean to go down this rabbit hole, but what I was saying was like, if you have been dissatisfied. I mean, I want Star Wars to be amazing again. I want to be able to go in and be happy to plunk down my $15 to go see a first run Star Wars movie on opening weekend. I haven't felt that way for a while, but I feel like this Mandalorian, I feel like this show is a step in that direction. As if it continues to be as good as it is, we've gotten half of the episodes. And every single one has just been amazing, unless they completely trip over their own shoelaces going into the finish line. I think they're going to pull it off, and it's going to be, the whole thing's just going to be great. And something that, like going into, like I'll contrast this. So, Jared and I have discussed it, like, well, when are we going to go see Rise of Skywalker? I don't really care. Maybe I'll wait for it to come on streaming, and I don't really, spoilers I don't care about. But Mandalorian, we're like, it's Friday, we gotta watch Mandalorian. Like, we get home from work, we gotta do this because I don't want to be spoiled. I need to see it. I need to see what happens next. And so, like, there's that excitement again.
It's the appointment.
Yes, it's like, I must watch this. It's not like, I'll get to it later. No, we go straight away. And here's the other thing about Jared: he doesn't watch a lot of TV. He just doesn't. He doesn't, people ask him about different TV shows, like, well, if you watch this, no, because he just doesn't care. But this one he does. So, that might tell you something.
Yeah, it felt, for me, like, this last one, I didn't get to watch it Friday because I was at family, and I couldn't watch it. So I couldn't watch it until yesterday. And I was like, between those 2 days I couldn't watch, I was like, oh my god. Like, it's addicting.
Yes, and it's,
like, can't watch it the day it came out. I was like, oh my god.
And I've seen people say, like, the only problem I have with it is I can't just binge it right now.
Yes.
Like,
But then
I
you
mean, it
lose
was-
the anticipation.
Yes.
It's like the
That is
anticipation
true.
is part of the fun part of it.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
like,
true. That is
it's
true.
It would be nice to be able to binge, but then it'd be just like, because I mean, I don't know how many times I've gone back and watched the first 4
Same.
episodes. There is so much rewatchability.
Oh yeah. We went back and rewatched the first episode before we watched the second episode when that one dropped.
Yep.
And I could definitely see us binge watching the entire season multiple times before season 2 comes out.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Because like you said, there's so much that you missed the first time and you want to go back and catch
Yeah.
everything. And
'Cause I
also
didn't-
watching just watching Pedro Pascal act
yeah.
without his face.
Yes, that's
Yes. I mean, to be behind that mask. I mean, I actually thought we were going to get an unmasking, but nope.
No, and even in the last episode they were very specific about that.
Yep.
And even they even addressed like how he eats
Yeah.
on his own.
Yep.
And when he says, they ask, when's the last time you took that helmet off? Yesterday. I mean, in front of somebody. I was their age and points to a bunch of kids.
Yep.
But yeah, Mandalorian, highly recommended if you haven't had the pleasure yet.
Yes.
Go do it.
Worth the price of admission, or in this case, subscription.
Yep.
Plus, you're getting a crap ton of other great stuff too. So
Yeah.
Whatever your feelings towards Star Wars, Disney, whatever, at this point, Disney Plus is so worth it.
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah.
Cool. So far, so good.
So far, so good. So
Yep.
we'll so it's a winner for us.
Yes.
So if any of our listeners want to chime in with their Disney Plus experience, if they've found something, some hidden treasure or jewel, some little gem that we probably ought to check out too, because gosh, there's a lot. Or just gush over the Mandalorian. I won't complain about that.
Yeah.
Email us your feedback at fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also go to our website, which is fiveishfangirls.com, and get all of our social media links and send us a message through Facebook or Instagram or whatever you want to do. We're also on YouTube. You can listen to us wherever fine podcasts are downloadable. And if you would like to financially support us in any way, whatever you want to do, we have a Patreon. We have an Amazon store, which if you're doing any Christmas shopping this holiday season, go there first. Go to our website first. Go to Amazon, and we'll get a little referral bonus. That helps us too, and doesn't cost you anything extra. We also have a merch shop. Speaking of Christmas presents, so it's our Redbubble store.
And I've been getting all sorts of emails from Redbubble with shirts 60% off, stickers half off. So
yeah, you can. There are plenty of deals to be had.
Yeah, sign up for their emails for discount codes, or if you use the bajillion websites out there to keep track of those things.
Yeah.
As well. So you've been thinking
so,
about buying merch. There's probably a discount at the moment.
Yes.
Yep.
So as you're doing your holiday shopping, think of us, and we appreciate you for all your support, listening, comments, whatever it is you do to interact with us. We're glad you're out there, and thanks for listening.
With that, we shall sign off for this week.
This is Brittany and Bethlehem saying goodnight.
This is Chrissy saying, I have spoken from Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying, this is the way.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. And if I was Pedro Pascal, I would be very happy that whenever he eventually gets to take that Mandalorian mask off, that he's not going to run the risk of having his face caved in by the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
His face will stay intact.
Listening to the Five-ish Fangirls podcast. You can find more episodes and information at thefivishfangirls.com. Any and all books, movies, games, and any other forms of media mentioned are owned and operated by the respective copyright holders. No copyright infringement is intended or implied. If you wish to support the show, the easiest way is to leave us a rating and review. More ratings and reviews will make it easier for others to find the show. If you wish to support us monetarily, you can do so at patreon.com/5ishfangirlspodcast. All money goes towards fees and equipment to keep the show going. For official Five-ish Fangirls merchandise, visit redbubble.com/people/5ishfangirls. We love hearing from our listeners and encourage feedback. You can email us at fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also like and follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/5ishfangirls. Thank you so much for listening, and may the squee be with you.